Here's something unsettling. Research suggests that the most successful people in your workplace might share personality traits with criminals. Your charming boss, that confident colleague everyone admires, perhaps even the person you're dating. In 2002, psychologists identified three personality traits that, when combined, predict manipulation, deception, and a startling willingness to harm others. They called it the Dark Triad. And the twist? These traits aren't just found in prisons. They're rewarded in boardrooms, universities, hospitals. Some studies suggest they help people climb to the top. Tonight, let's explore why some of the most dangerous personality patterns might also be the most rewarded in modern society. The story begins in the 1960s when psychologist Richard Christie became obsessed with understanding manipulators, people who could orchestrate movements and exploit followers through cold calculation. But when he searched the literature, he found thousands of studies on followers and almost nothing on the manipulators themselves. So Christie did something radical. He opened a 500-year-old book, Niccolò Machiavelli's The Prince. He extracted key statements about manipulation and turned them into a personality test. Working with Florence Geis, he published his findings in 1970. What they discovered changed psychology. People who agreed with statements like, never tell anyone the real reason you did something unless it is useful to do so, didn't just think differently, they behaved differently. In laboratory experiments involving money and negotiation, these high marks won consistently. But here's the chilling part. They won while remaining completely calm. Christie and Geis observed what they termed the cool syndrome, a detached, emotionless approach to using people. Hymax didn't feel guilty when lying. They simply calculated the most effective strategy and executed it, and the trait had nothing to do with intelligence or education. Fast forward to 1979. Psychologists Robert Raskin and Calvin Hall created a test measuring narcissism in everyday people. When refined in 1988, patterns emerged. Narcissists didn't just think highly of themselves. When given objective intelligence tests, they consistently overestimated their abilities. They genuinely perceived themselves as superior, even when data proved otherwise. A 2021 brain imaging study found that higher narcissism correlates with variations in gray matter within the prefrontal cortex, regions involved in self-reflection and empathy regulation. This suggests narcissism may be partially rooted in how the brain processes information about self versus others. But narcissism presents a paradox. Narcissists often achieve early success in leadership. Their confidence draws followers. Yet longitudinal research shows that over time, their effectiveness crumbles. It's as if narcissism offers short-term gains at the cost of long-term stability. Then comes psychopathy, the darkest member of the triad. In the 1980s, psychologist Robert Hare developed the Psychopathy checklist, revised. Researchers soon realized these traits existed on a spectrum in everyday populations: high impulsivity, thrill-seeking, and remarkably low empathy. Brain scans reveal consistent patterns: reduced gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, abnormalities in the amygdala, altered emotional processing networks. Based on these findings, we can infer that psychopathy involves fundamental differences in how the brain registers emotions and moral reasoning. A 2010 study by Jones and Paulhus tested how each trait responds to threats. Narcissists react aggressively to ego insults. Psychopaths respond to physical threats. But Machiavellians? They remained calm regardless. They weren't easily provoked by anything. Research consistently identifies psychopathy as the most harmful of the three, linked to higher rates of manipulation, cheating, and infidelity. Unlike narcissists who crave admiration, psychopaths seem indifferent to the damage they cause. In 2002, Delroy, Paulhus, and Kevin Williams noticed these three traits shared striking similarities: emotional coldness, manipulativeness, self-promotion, exploitation. They called this constellation the Dark Triad. A 2025 study using machine learning analyzed brain scans from over 200 individuals, identifying four neural networks associated with the Dark Triad: reward processing, empathy circuits, impulse control, and social cognition. This implies these traits may be encoded in how brains are wired. And here's where the story takes a disturbing turn. A 2021 study across German and Hungarian organizations found that people in higher leadership positions displayed significantly elevated Dark Triad scores, both in self-assessments and in how subordinates rated them. The Dark Triad, it seems, doesn't prevent career success. In some environments, it facilitates it. But there's a cost: toxic workplaces, lower satisfaction, higher turnover. This could explain why some organizations thrive initially under charismatic leaders, only to collapse once their true nature becomes undeniable. In relationships, a 2024 study found people in stable relationships scored lower on Dark Triad measures. But here's the twist. When both partners score high on these traits, they report higher relationship satisfaction. Two people high in manipulation and callousness finding compatibility with each other. It's as if the Dark Triad recognizes itself and feels at home. So, what have we learned? The Dark Triad reveals something uncomfortable about human nature. These traits exist on a spectrum. Most of us possess elements of them. The difference lies in degree, but here's the final reveal. The Dark Triad might not be a flaw in human evolution. It might be a feature. In competitive environments, Machiavellian strategy provides advantage. Narcissistic confidence attracts followers. Psychopathic fearlessness enables risk-taking. These traits persist across cultures because, in certain contexts, they work. The question isn't whether the Dark Triad is good or evil. It's when do these traits serve us and when do they destroy us? Understanding the Dark Triad helps us recognize these patterns not just in others, but in ourselves. The moments we manipulate rather than communicate, the times we prioritize image over connection, the instances we feel nothing when we should feel everything. Because the Dark Triad isn't just out there. It's in here too, in all of us. The choice is what we do when we notice it. If this challenged your thinking, consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, sleep well.